So I have some good news. My MacBook Air is back. After 3 long weeks, Apple has finally returned, well, not really returned, giving me a brand new MacBook Air after I had issues with my original M1 MacBook Air. If you want to see everything about that, I do have 2 videos in the past going over how my MacBook Air basically blew up and how Apple support handled it, which is a very interesting story. And I'll make a video in the future going over exactly what happened and how they got me a new M1 MacBook Air. But what's more important is this. I started setting up the MacBook Air, right? I started putting in all my old programs into it, all of the files I use on a daily basis, you know, all my Final Cut templates, my motion graphics, my LUTs, everything. I use Logic Pro 10 all the time, so I have all those sounds that I download, all the samples. And when I finally finished adding every program and every file that I need on the internal SSD, I had already used 140 gigabytes of storage. Now I did get the 512 megabyte version of the MacBook Air, but not everybody does that. Most people go to an Apple store and say, hey, I want the new MacBook Air. And what is the new MacBook Air? It's the starting model. It's the $999, 8 gigabyte of RAM, 256 gigabytes of SSD storage. And that is just unacceptable in 2020. 256 gigabytes of storage should not be the standard anymore. It's too small. Now there can be arguments made that the average user won't use that, but how do we know that? And also the average user isn't buying a laptop every year to 2 years like us tech people do. The average college student wants a laptop that they can buy freshman year and it's gonna last their senior year. They want 4 years with one laptop. And while yes, majority of college students are just using Google Docs and the Google Suite, so it's all in cloud storage, some of them are actually working on bigger things that take up hard drive space fast. When I'm recommending the Mac Mini as the perfect family computer, the computer for everybody, how much time goes by before that family has to start thinking about an external SSD for their Mac Mini? Now you and me, of course, can get an external SSD and be able to move files between it easily and know how it works, but me trying to explain to certain members of my family, like, oh, get the Mac Mini, but also buy this T5, T7, whatever the newest Samsung drive is, plug it in the back, and make sure that all of these programs files go into that one. It's gonna take forever. And cloud storage exists, and it's nice, but not everybody knows how to use it, let alone does use it properly. Now again, people like us are going to replace their computer very consistently. So having low hard drive space is okay, and we also use external SSDs religiously. I know for me personally, I have 3 sitting on my desk right now that I use consistently. But again, I go to this Mac Mini, $700 starting price, right? But this is what Apple wants, is they want to see the Mac Mini starts at $699 with 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. The MacBook Air starts at $999 with 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. And other companies are doing this as well. You look at Dell, you look at HP, you look at normal brands that most people would recognize right away, and their starting laptops are starting at $999, $899, $799, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. And you know what? It's 2020, guys. It's time to move on. Because honestly, it's hard for me to not recommend getting the Mac Mini with 512 for the average family, because I know that when they have that much storage, it'll actually last them the 4 to 6 years they want to get out of that Mac Mini. And with the new M1 chips, I really want to recommend it for most people because the M1 is so fast that I know that computer can last 4 to 6 years. But with 256 gigabytes of storage, it won't. Am I getting 512? I can guarantee it, but that $700 price point goes up immediately to $900 because Apple charges $200 to upgrade the hard drive. And this is just unacceptable, and it makes me annoyed, it makes me angry, because I have to tell my family, look, you should get the Mac Mini. I know when you go in the store it's gonna say $700, but you can't get that one. You have to get the $900 model. And they're like, why do I gotta spend $200 more? Because we've been having these debates on phones. What should the minimum amount of RAM that phone should get in 2020? We need to start talking about internal storage on computers too. Hard drive needs to go up, RAM needs to go up. 8 gigabytes of RAM is bare minimum, and we've talked about that enough. We need to start seeing in this next year in 2021, 512 gigabytes of storage and 16 gigs of RAM are the standard for computers. That's what majority of people need, and that is what will make their computers last longer. Now I know that's not what companies want. They want you to upgrade your computer every 2 years, just like you upgrade your phone every 2 years. It's just unrealistic, it's unfair. And for me, I want to recommend things without telling them to spend more money than what is on the sticker price. But that's my opinion. That's what I feel like. That's what I'm angry about right now. Leave in the comments below what you think of all of this. Let's talk about it. Let's argue about it. Let's get into this. And let me know what you think should change for the standard of computers going into the future. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in a few days with another video.